6 years ago, I was left bleeding in my childhood bedroom while my sister walked out hand in hand with my boyfriend, and my parents did nothing. I was 22 at the time. My sister was 24, and always the golden child. Everything she did was perfect in my parents' eyes. I was just the quiet, average one. My boyfriend was 23, and we had been together for almost 3 years. I really thought we were going to get married one day. One night, I found messages on his phone. They were from my sister. At first, I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe I was misunderstanding, but the messages were clear, flirty, secretive, and full of inside jokes that I didn't know about. I confronted him, and he didn't deny it. He just looked away. I went straight to my sister. I was angry, shaking, and hurt. I screamed at her, asking how she could do this to me. I thought she would feel guilty. I thought she would cry, or at least say sorry, but she didn't. She laughed, then she shoved me, hard. We fought. Well, I tried to defend myself, but she's stronger. I ended up on the floor, bleeding from my mouth and crying. My parents came into the room, saw the mess, and told me to stop causing drama. My mum told me I was overreacting. My dad said, "It's just a boy." I asked them to call the police. They refused. They said it would ruin the family. The next morning, I packed a small bag and left. No one stopped me. My sister didn't look back. She moved into an apartment with my now ex-boyfriend the same week. They posted happy pictures on Instagram like nothing had happened. I had no job, no money, and nowhere to go. I couch surfed at a friend's place for a while. I didn't talk to my family after that, not even once. I spent years trying to forget it all, trying to survive, and all the while, they were living like they won. But I never forgot. Not the blood, not the silence, not how they all turned their backs on me like I was nothing. After I left home, I cut off contact with everyone. My parents, my sister, even distant family. I was completely alone. I didn't have a plan or a place to go, but I knew I couldn't stay somewhere I wasn't safe or loved. The first few months were the hardest. I stayed with a friend on her couch, worked part-time jobs, and cried myself to sleep more times than I can count. I had panic attacks, nightmares, and moments where I questioned if I had made a mistake by walking away. But deep down, I knew I didn't. They made their choice. Now I had to make mine. I started therapy after a few months. At first, it was just to deal with the anxiety and trauma. But over time, it helped me rebuild who I was. I had spent so much of my life in my sister's shadow, constantly being compared, constantly feeling like I had to be quieter, smaller. Therapy helped me find my voice again. I worked hard, saved money, got my own apartment, and eventually finished my degree. It wasn't easy. Nothing about starting over ever is, but I did it. I built a life without them. But no matter how far I tried to move on, I couldn't escape completely. My sister and my ex were everywhere on social media. Engagement photos, vacations, parties with friends I used to have. They looked like the perfect couple. Every smiling picture felt like a slap in the face. I blocked them both, but the damage had already been done. Their life looked like everything I had lost, except it had never really been mine, had it? I guess I was just the placeholder. My parents reached out sometimes. At first, they sent texts trying to guilt-trip me. "Family is all you have. You'll regret cutting us off." My mum would say things like, "Your sister misses you." But they never said sorry, never once asked how I was doing or admitted they were wrong. It was always about keeping the peace, never about healing the wound. Then, about a year ago, the messages stopped, completely. No birthday text, no emails, no voicemails. At first, I felt relieved. I thought maybe they'd finally accepted that I wasn't coming back. But part of me felt something else, uneasy. It was too quiet, too sudden. My parents never stopped pushing before, so why now? A mutual friend from my hometown messaged me not long after. She said, "I heard something happened with your sister. Are you okay?" That's when I realized something was going on. Something big enough to shake the golden child's world. Something they didn't want me to know. For the first time in 6 years, I felt a shift, not just in them, but in me. I had spent so long healing in silence while they played happy family. Now suddenly they were silent, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to listen. But I knew one thing. Whatever they were hiding, I was going to find out. It started with a voicemail. I hadn't heard my dad's voice in years, but the second I saw his name on my phone, my heart dropped. I didn't want to listen, but curiosity got the better of me. His voice was shaky, quiet. "We need you. It's about your sister. Please call back." I didn't call back. For days, I ignored it. I told myself I didn't care, that whatever was happening wasn't my problem, but the words stuck with me. I kept hearing them over and over again. It's about your sister. Something had clearly gone wrong, and I couldn't help but wonder what. After almost a week, I gave in. I packed a bag and drove back to my hometown, heart pounding the whole way. I hadn't been back since I left. The streets were the same, but everything felt colder, smaller. I went straight to the hospital, like he'd mentioned in a second, shorter message. I half expected it to be some kind of trick, but it wasn't. There she was, my sister, the same person who had once hit me and stolen the person I loved most. Now she was lying in a hospital bed, face bruised, arm in a sling, and eyes sunken like she hadn't slept in days. She looked nothing like the woman from the Instagram pictures. She looked broken. My parents were there too. My mum rushed to hug me, like nothing had happened. My dad said, "Thank you for coming," like I was some kind of hero. They didn't bring up the past, not the blood, not the betrayal. They acted like the last 6 years had just been a long vacation. They told me my sister had been in an accident, that she was struggling, that she had no one. "She needs you," my mum said, voice trembling. "We all need to be a family again." It took everything in me not to laugh. Now they wanted family? Now when the golden child had fallen? I didn't say much, I just nodded. I told them I'd think about what I could do, but deep down, I wasn't here to fix anything. I was here for answers, and maybe, just maybe, to finally turn the tables. At first, I played along. I didn't ask too many questions. I let my parents talk, and let my sister pretend to be fragile and remorseful. She didn't say sorry, not really. She cried a little and said things like, "I never meant for it to happen this way, and I've made mistakes." But those words felt empty. She was still dancing around the truth, still trying to paint herself as the victim in a story she had created. So I started asking around, quietly. A few of our old mutual friends still lived in town. Most didn't know I was back, so I used that to my advantage. I visited one of them, someone who had stayed close to both my sister and her now ex-husband. I asked how things were, pretending I was just trying to reconnect. What I found out shocked me, but not because of what she did. That didn't surprise me anymore. It was how hard and fast she had fallen. Apparently, a few months ago, her husband, yes, the same guy who once left me for her, found out she'd been cheating. And not just once, multiple affairs. Some of them with married men, one with his friend. When he confronted her, she didn't deny it. She blamed him, said he didn't make her feel wanted anymore. Sounded familiar. He filed for divorce immediately, took everything with him. The house was in his name, and she had no savings of her own. Turns out, she had been living off him for years. She had no job, no career, no fallback. And just like that, her perfect life was gone. She'd been couch surfing, drinking a lot, and got into a car accident after a night out. That's how she ended up in the hospital. Suddenly, everything made sense. The fake concern from my parents, the desperate messages, the tears. They didn't miss me. They missed the version of their family where their golden daughter didn't look like a failure. And now that she was down, they needed me to fill in the gap, to fix things, to forgive, to play nice. So I did. I smiled. I brought flowers to the hospital. I asked my sister how she was feeling. I cooked dinner for my parents. I let them believe I was coming back to them, that I was healing, that I was the good daughter again. But every moment I spent with them, I was watching, listening, storing every little detail. I wasn't here to help. I wasn't here to rebuild a broken family. I was here to collect the pieces of their lie and burn it down from the inside. They thought I had forgotten. That time and distance had softened me, but all time had done was make me smarter, colder, and more focused. They taught me how to lie with a smile, how to bury pain under fake peace. Now it was my turn to teach them something. Actions have consequences, even if they're 6 years late. I slipped into the role so easily, it scared me a little. I smiled when they needed comfort. I stayed quiet when they told stories that ignored the past. I hugged my mother when she cried and said, "I'm so glad you came back." I brought home-cooked meals to the hospital, tucked in beside my sister like we were just two close siblings catching up after years apart. On the outside, I was the picture of forgiveness. But inside, I was planning. My sister looked worse each day. Her face was pale, her hair unwashed. her eyes constantly darting like she was waiting for something or someone that never came. One afternoon, when our parents stepped out of the room, she finally opened up. Her voice was low, almost embarrassed. "He took everything," she whispered. "The house, the car, even the dog. I don't have a job. I don't even have health insurance. I'm stuck." She looked up at me like she wanted pity, but I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness, just a deep, cold satisfaction. I nodded slowly, giving her a soft, fake smile. "That's hard. I'm sorry." She didn't apologize for what she did to me, not directly. Instead, she said things like, "We were so young," and "it just happened," as if betrayal is something that just happens, like bad weather or a power outage. Not a choice, not a decision she made, step by step, while looking me in the eye. At home, my parents were trying to rewrite the past. My mum would say things like, "You girls used to be so close," as if we'd had some unbreakable bond. My dad said, "It's time to let bygones be bygones," like I'd held a grudge over spilled milk, not over years of being ignored, gaslit, and replaced. They didn't want healing. They wanted comfort. They wanted me to smooth it all over, to fix what was broken, not by repairing it, but by pretending it had never been broken in the first place. So I gave them exactly what they wanted. I cooked, I cleaned, I smiled, and I took notes. I was building my revenge quietly, carefully, not with violence, not with screaming or chaos, but with truth, ugly, honest truth that I knew would hurt more than anything else. They thought I was back because I missed them. I was back because I wanted them to see what it feels like to be betrayed, and I wasn't finished yet, not even close. I told myself it was just for closure. I messaged him late one night, simple and casual. "Can we talk? Just once. I think I need to close the chapter." He replied within minutes. We met at a quiet bar just outside town where no one would recognize us. Seeing him again after all those years hit me harder than I expected. He looked older, tired, worn down, but still familiar. For a moment, I almost forgot everything he'd done, but then I remembered how he walked out of my life hand in hand with my sister, leaving me broken. We talked for hours. At first it was awkward, surface level. Then the truth started spilling out. He told me he'd been miserable for years, that my sister had isolated him from his friends, controlled every part of their life, and that by the end, he felt like a stranger in his own home. "She lied about everything," he said. "I thought I was getting someone better. I was wrong." He said he regretted what he did to me, that he should have known better, that he was young and stupid and weak. I didn't let him off the hook, but I let him talk. I nodded. I acted soft, like maybe I could understand. That was the beginning. We started meeting in secret, coffee shops, long drives, late night texts. He started opening up more, telling me stories from their relationship, the fights, the lies, the way she twisted things to make herself the victim every time. He had no idea I was recording everything, every word, every confession, every disgusting truth. I saved it all. I made him feel safe with me. I knew what he needed to hear, how to touch his hand at just the right moment, how to smile when he shared something painful. It was easy, almost too easy. He was looking for someone to save him. I let him think I might be that person, but I wasn't here to save him. I was here to collect receipts. He helped destroy me once, whether he realized it or not. Now I was going to use him to destroy the illusion my sister had built, and I'd do it with a smile on my face. It started with a carefully worded anonymous email, screenshots attached, old texts, voice memos, photos, every disgusting little secret my sister had hidden behind her perfect smile. I sent it to one of her old church friends, the kind who believed in godly womanhood and Sunday morning reputations. Then I sat back and watched the storm build. The messages spread faster than I expected. By the end of the week, her entire social circle knew the truth, the affairs, the lies, the manipulation. Some of the screenshots were of her talking badly about her friends, laughing at their marriages, bragging about the men she'd stolen. I made sure it all looked like it leaked by accident, like maybe her ex had done it, or one of the other wives. I never showed my face. Then came the social media posts. I created a quiet little burner account. I didn't need to say much, just dropped enough evidence to raise questions, and people started talking. Her once squeaky clean reputation shattered overnight. She lost friends. People at church stopped texting. Even the local women's business group, where she'd once been a rising star, cut ties. Her name became a whisper in town, and not the good kind. She couldn't even go to the grocery store without someone giving her a look. And the best part? I didn't lift a finger publicly. I let her past do all the work. I just held up the mirror and watched her crumble. My parents were furious. I came home one night to find my mum pacing the kitchen, waving her phone around. "Someone's spreading lies about your sister. You need to help us fix this." My dad looked at me with that tight, tired disappointment he used to save for me. But this time, they couldn't blame me outright. They didn't have proof, and they still needed me. My sister wasn't eating. She was slipping deeper into something dark, and they didn't know how to handle her alone. I was their lifeline now, the good daughter, the only one holding things together. So I smiled. I made tea. I offered soft words. But inside, I was calm and cold. For the first time in years, they were feeling what I felt. Alone, betrayed, powerless. And I wasn't done yet. I'd been visiting a lawyer since the second week I got back. Quietly, no drama, no announcements, just information gathering. Turns out, the statute of limitations on felony assault in my state was 6 years, and I still had a few weeks left. It was almost like fate wanted me to have this one final card. I had photos, medical records from the hospital visit I went to after she attacked me, emails to a college counselor explaining why I dropped out that semester. My therapist even agreed to write a statement about the trauma I'd carried for years. Once everything was in place, I filed the charges. The news hit like a grenade. I didn't tell them first. I let the police do that. My sister was served papers at home, still wearing a hoodie and limping from the car accident. My mum called me 20 minutes later, screaming. My dad showed up at my door that night, quiet and pale. "You're destroying the family," he said, not even trying to hide the disgust in his voice. I didn't flinch. I invited him in, sat him down, and told him everything. Every memory. Every night I cried myself to sleep. Every time they ignored me. Every holiday they spent pretending my pain didn't exist. I told him how it felt to bleed on the carpet while they protected my sister, how I begged for help, and they told me to calm down. "You let her get away with everything," I said, "and now you expect me to save her again. I won't." The next day, I gathered them all. My sister, my mom, my dad. I sat them down in the living room and made them listen. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just spoke, clear and sharp. "You didn't care when I was hurt. You cared when she got caught. You didn't come for me when I needed you. Now you want mercy for her. You don't deserve it." My sister sobbed. My mom begged. My dad looked away, but I didn't waver. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. Cold, overdue, and absolutely mine. They asked for one final conversation. My mum said it like a plea. My dad said it like a demand. My sister didn't say anything, just sent a text that said, "Please, just once. I need to explain." I didn't owe them anything, but I agreed. Not for closure, not for peace, but because I wanted to watch them squirm under the weight of the truth they'd ignored for years. We met in the living room of my childhood home, the same one where I'd once cried on the floor with a bloody lip while they told me to calm down and be the bigger person. Now I was calm, ice cold. They sat in a circle, my parents on the couch, my sister wrapped in a blanket, eyes red and puffy. I stood. I didn't want to sit. "You only cared," I started, my voice steady, "when the golden one broke, not when I bled." No one spoke. I could feel the air suck out of the room. I went on. "When she hit me and stole the guy I loved, you asked me to forgive her. You said, 'Don't ruin the family.' When I left, you didn't follow. You didn't call. You let me go like I was disposable." My mum started crying. My dad looked down. My sister whispered, "I was stupid. I'm sorry. But I didn't want an apology. Not now. You're sorry because your life fell apart. Because your lies caught up to you. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you don't have anyone left to protect you from it." And then, like clockwork, there was a knock at the door. It was him, my sister's ex, the man she stole from me. But this time, he wasn't standing beside her. He walked over to me, quiet and calm. My sister's face went pale. "You brought him?" "No," I said, without even looking at her. "He came on his own." He stood beside me as I continued. "This isn't just about what happened back then. It's about what you let happen. It's about choosing her over and over again, even when she was hurting everyone around her." My dad opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. "You don't get to defend her. Not anymore." The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, full of everything they never said, and everything I had finally let out. My sister sobbed harder. My mum tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. "I came back to give you a chance to be honest," I said. "Instead, you tried to erase what you did. I won't let you." And with that, I turned to leave, this time, not alone and not broken. I left before sunrise. The sky was still dark, the roads quiet. I packed what little I had brought back with me, some clothes, old journals, and the heavy silence that had lived in that house for too long. But I wasn't the same girl who had fled 6 years ago with tears in her eyes and a backpack on her shoulder. This time, I wasn't running. I was walking away by choice. My sister didn't come to say goodbye. She couldn't face me. Not after everything. She was still in the same house, alone, broke, and hated by the same community that once worshipped her. The golden girl had finally fallen from the pedestal they all helped build, and no one was offering to catch her now. As for my parents, they stood at the porch when I walked out with my bags. My mum had tears in her eyes again, and my dad looked like he wanted to say something, but neither of them spoke. They just watched me go, the weight of their silence louder than any apology could have been. They didn't try to stop me this time. Maybe they finally understood that they had already lost me years ago, when they chose comfort over truth, image over justice, and her over me. I didn't look back. I drove out of that town with the windows down and the wind in my hair, letting the past peel off me like dead skin. I had done everything I came to do. I exposed the truth. I took back my voice. I made them look at the mess they created and the daughter they abandoned. And I didn't do it out of bitterness. I did it because I deserved peace. Somewhere along the highway, the ex-boyfriend, my ex, her ex, whatever he was now, texted me. "Are you okay?" he asked. I stared at the screen for a long moment before I replied. "I am now. Whether he stays in my life or not doesn't matter. What matters is that I finally closed the door on a chapter that nearly broke me. I burned the bridge, not out of anger, but because I finally knew I never wanted to cross it again. And as the morning sun rose behind me, I knew something else too. This was the beginning of my life, on my terms, with no lies, no guilt, no ghosts. And damn, it felt good. Thank you for watching and staying until the end. If it moved you, share it. Let someone else know they're not alone. Healing begins when the truth is finally spoken. Thank you, truly.